Tell me, I mean, there's so many Democratic contenders, folks that obviously are very well financed, have, brand names themselves. What compelled you to support Senator Sanders?
Senator Sanders has the most diverse coalition supporting him. That's what it's going to take to get Trump out of the White House. You have to bring out folks that normally will stay at home. His message resonates because working people have been taken advantage of for so many decades, and the people are rising up and they're recognizing that. They support a Democrat that's going to actually be there for them. And so if you look at this crowd, you see young people, old people, you see such a diverse community. That's what it's going to take take back the White House and our country.
Well, tell me this, as the only Indian American in the California state legislature, you have a lot of sway amongst Indian Americans, but many of them have supported President Trump. They're supporting Michael Bloomberg. They might be supporting other Democratic candidates. What is it about Senator Sanders that's going to resonate? Let's face it, our community by and large has done very well. They're educated, affluent. Why will Senator Sanders resonate amongst South Asians?
He actually does. You'll see a lot of South Asians actually do support Senator Sanders. And you think about our faiths, whether we're Hindu, Sikh, Muslim, we think about more than just ourselves. And that's why the "not me, us" slogan really resonates. Sure, there are some folks that are going to be with more established candidates or with the Republican, but ultimately, I think that Senator Sanders is really the one that represents South Asians so well for our values and what we believe in. And let's remember, there's no doubt that the working class is more supportive of Bernie Sanders than other classes. And there are some folks in the Indian community that have done quite well. And so they're not necessarily connecting with them on that. But I'll tell you, there's a lot of South Asians that are doing well that still connect with Senator Sanders because of the values he represents and because we know we have a systemic problem in our nation that's unsustainable. You can't be right where we are, where I represent, where Congressman Connor represents, one of the wealthiest places in the wealthiest country on earth, and have people sleeping on the street, having people one paycheck or one medical emergency away from being homeless or bankrupt. It's not moral and it's not sustainable.
Finally, obviously, President Trump just came back from India. If Senator Sanders gets a Democratic nomination, what is he going to do to appeal to this community that, let's face it, have bootstrapped? There was no support system for the Indian community coming up. So for those people who are self-made, so to speak, and have achieved incredible success, how do you compel those folks to not think about their tax cuts, not think about what could happen under a Sanders administration? How do you convince those people that Trump is the wrong choice versus Sanders?
Look, I mean, at the end of the day, we have to decide for ourselves. Do we want to live in a nation where we care about the condition of our neighbors or not? I can't morally speak to someone that is only going to look at their own bottom line. What I will say is that it does matter how others are doing because we're eroding our middle class. So you may gain some wealth now, but ultimately it's going to lead to an economic crisis. And secondly, and Congressman Khanna spoke to this, look, the coronavirus, you can have the best healthcare in the world. If people in your community that are around you that serve you your food, that drive the Uber and Lyft cars, that don't get sick pay and don't get health care, if they get sick, it affects you and your family too. Ultimately, I think that we are better off when everyone's educated, when everyone has some food on the table, some money in their pocket. You can still be wealthy and rich, but you can also care about those that aren't.
Will you see outreach from Senator Sanders to specifically Indian Americans and South Asians? I've seen he's made some remarks, obviously, about Kashmir, which have obviously upset a lot of folks in the community. What kind of outreach do you see Senator Sanders doing if, in fact, he gets the nomination?
You know, I've actually seen a lot of South Asians, especially young South Asians, whose parents are pretty well off. The young people that grew up here get the fact that we need to have a multicultural presence in our political world. They're the ones, I think, that are going to be part of the coalition that supports Senator Sanders from the South Asian community, and hopefully they can get their parents to come along. My father voted for Senator Sanders. My whole family did. And my family doesn't need to worry about health care or putting food on the table because they have a moral value. A moral value I was brought up with as a Hindu, to recognize that that what I do is not about being attached to material wealth. That at the end of the day, we're going to be judged by what we can do to make our world better. And so that's, I think, the message that will resonate with the South Asian community.
Do you see him making any messaging specific to Hindus? Because I do see some remarks pro-Muslim, and some people have been offended by that.
No, and I get that. And I think that there needs to be an understanding that Senator Sanders is not pro-Muslim, pro-Hindu, pro-Christian. He is really trying to build a coalition, a multi-faith, multicultural coalition. And he absolutely has, as part of that coalition, Hindus, and will continue to reach out to the Hindu community. I and Congressman Khanna are two prominent Hindu Americans that support him because we believe that he's going to be able to unite everyone as Americans together. But absolutely, there's more work to do, and that's what we have to do between now and November.